Hey, welcome back to Sambo. I've had the Weber SmokeFire Sear Plus now for almost 6 months, and I thought it was time to do a follow-up. What better way to do a follow-up when I'm actually doing a cook on it here in Northeast Pennsylvania 1 week before Christmas. And it's pretty ambient temperature outside right now. I'd say it's in the upper 40s. I'm smoking a 10-pound pork shoulder roast for some pork barbecue. I started it at midnight, and it's been going now for almost 12 hours. And I'll get back to that in a few minutes. My thoughts on this Weber grill. Many people have kind of commented on one of the first reviews I did on this, and I thought I would get back to it after I've had this for a while and tried a variety of different cooks on it. Now, I'm going to be totally objective with you because this grill costs a lot of money. And there are many other grill smokers out there around the size of this ELX6 for a lot less. Now, I know that Weber just had a special on these grills for Black Friday. But if you're looking at the whole market share of these things, this is on the upper end of cost. I love the appearance of this grill. I mentioned it in my first review. I love the contemporary sleek design. I love the black chrome finish you have here on the ELX6 SmokeFire. I love the rubber handle. This is indispensable. It really is. The rubber handle makes this a joy to deal with. Now, I will say this. This was pre-assembled before it was shipped to me, and I've had to tighten that handle down twice. It's not because I use it like a caveman. It's because the bolts that come with this are cheap, and they do tend to loosen up. So I have had to tighten this handle down twice since I've owned this. As you can see, I purchased some extra S-hooks, and I use the folding grill that goes across the top for a second level. I now hold some of my extra tools with it. So I think that's nice. Below the grill that's hanging there is the ash pan. And I gotta tell you that there's not a lot of ash that makes it down into the ash pan. I just cleaned this out before I did this smoke, and there was hardly any ash in it. All the ash was down in the bottom of the pit. And I discovered something based on a comment on my first interview that really helps with cleaning out this grill. I found an old, really old, supersized paintbrush in my shop, and I use this to brush all of the ash down into the vent holes, which then go into the ash pan. But if you rely on this grill's engineering for the ash to get to the ash pan, even with the vented grate underneath the firebox, it doesn't do its job. Grease mitigation. I haven't done a lot of greasy cooks, and I'm going to take the camera off the tripod a little bit, and I'm going to show you what's going on right now with this cook and why I haven't done many greasy cooks. So I haven't had any grease really build up down in the bottom of this pit. I haven't had the grease channels clog up like many have reported on this, and I have not had a grease fire on this grill either. I'm going to take this off the tripod here, and I have to apologize because I think my image stabilization is going shot on this grill. But on the ELX6, you get this shelf, which is absolutely indispensable. It's fantastic. And one thing I forgot to point out in the initial video is that it comes with these hooks underneath that you could hang the center section of the sear plate if you're not going to use it. And I'm not using it when I'm doing this smoke. The interface is fantastic. I love how you could connect right to your phone. In fact, sometimes I go to the gym and I'm still able to use it on Wi-Fi, and I'm 12 miles away, and I can adjust the temperature of the grill. So that's a real plus. What's a real minus on this grill is the pellet hopper. This is very frustrating. And it's very frustrating because if you're going to park this grill up against the house or up against a railing, you're going to have to move it away every time you want to fill this hopper. And it's just not, it's not a good design. The pellets get wedged in between the hopper and the grill. The pellets fill up down here in the channel. It's just not good. A side hopper, in my opinion, is much better. And this does not hold as much as my pit boss used to hold. So this is really not a nice design element. It's just not. Up underneath this, you have the on-off switch. And I will tell you that I do roll this in and out of my garage often. And this plug tends to come loose under there, so I'm always working this plug back in place before I start the grill. Like I said, the on-off switch is up underneath. That switch right there, you see that button switch on the side, is for the light, and I'm gonna get to that light in a second here. So here's the smoke I have going on. The 10-pound shoulder roast, I have it wrapped, and as you can see, one of the nice things about this grill is that you can fit a 2-inch pan on top of the flavorizer bars under your grill grates, and you can fill that with whatever liquid you want to fill it with. White wine, I have this one filled with apple juice before this smoke to keep the smoke moist. It's a nice feature for this grill. Now, over here is the light. I thought that was a great feature on this grill when I bought it. Forget about it. It's a bear to keep clean. The smoke gets inside the glass housing and the bulb gets all tarnished, and it's, you know what, it's a nice thought, Weber, but it just doesn't work. And if you want to become a slave to keeping that thing clean after every cook, hey, that's you, but I'm not. And I can't say that I've been fastidious with keeping it clean. So right now it's blacked over. It doesn't work. It's not even a feature that goes with this grill. This thing pumps out volumes of smoke. It makes amazing smoke rings in everything that goes into it. This Weber heats up, gets the temperature rather quickly. It holds the temperature. Now, it was down to the lower 30s here last night, and this grill was outside. And this got the 10-pound shoulder roast beginning at midnight. It got it up to stall temperature at about 7 o'clock this morning. This is probably the 10th or 11th smoke I've done on this grill. I've done briskets, I've done shoulder roasts, Boston butts, whatever you want to call them. And I'm noticing a consistent issue with this grill. And it's probably due to the size of the barrel that comes on the ELX6. As you can see, it's rather vast. And I know, I keep opening and closing it during my smoke, and I shouldn't, but I want you to see this. This grill really struggles to get you from 170 to 200 when you are smoking. My Pit Boss, I would get my briskets done in 12, 13 hours. I would get my pork shoulder roast done in about 8 hours. This grill takes forever, and it rips through the pellets like you wouldn't believe. I've already gone through a bag of pellets, and I got about a half a bag in the hopper right now. I may have to go get some more before this is done. Like I said, this has been smoking now for about 12 hours, going on 13 hours. And looking at the grill temperature, even with the pork shoulder wrapped, my temperature has dropped to 150, 151 internally since I wrapped this at stall temperature. And I have the heat up to 325 right now, and it's been at 325 for about the last 45 minutes. This really struggles getting your meat from stall temperature 170-ish to 201, 202, where you want a pork shoulder roast before you take it off and let it rest. So smoke rings, smoke flavor, fantastic, does a really good job. Getting it past stall temperature, perhaps it's the size of the pit. I don't know, maybe the ELX4, maybe the EX4 does a little better job because it's not as much air volume inside that has to be heated. But I've noticed consistently that it takes a lot more time to get it to the temperature where I needed to when doing briskets and doing pork shoulders. That said, how is it as a griller? I've yet to get this thing to flame sear anything. And that's even brushing the meats that I have with a basting material or a butter broth or whatever. I just cannot get this to flame sear. Now, you could pump this sucker up to 500, 600 degrees and your sear plate will leave black marks on the bottom of your meat. You will sear it with the plate, but you cannot get I can't anyway, get a true flame sear out of this grill. I know others have. Maybe it's just me as a cook. Maybe I'm doing something wrong, but I can't get this thing to flame sear like I used to get my Pit Boss to flame sear. So I'm a little disappointed with that. As a griller, it imparts fantastic smoke flavor. It does a great job on fish. It does a great job on seafood. It does a great job on turkey and on chicken. Can't say enough about it. Excels in that department, much better than my Pit Boss did. So I left the last video review I did with a question, and I said, is this ELX6 Sear Plus worth the price of admission? I'm going to be objective, and I'm going to say no. I don't think it is. I think that it's a fantastic product. I love the modulating fan. I love the volumes of smoke that this thing produces. But in terms of the flame searing that I was used to with my Pit Boss, and the time it took to get from stall to finish with my Pit Boss, this is a struggle. And for $1,600, if you're not getting this thing on sale, or if you don't have a coupon, for $1,600, I gotta scratch my head on whether or not this thing was worth the price of admission. Now, if you notice the cover behind this, that's my Oklahoma Joe's Firecraft. So a lot of times, I'll take whatever I'm smoking on this grill, and I'll crank up a fire on the Firecraft, and I'll flame sear it, I'll reverse sear it, and finish it off on my Firecraft. But you shouldn't have to do that. Not for $1,600, in my opinion. But I'm going to keep using it, and I'll report back again. Oh, one last thing I want to mention. Did this take any longer in a cold temperature situation than it did over the summer? No. I don't see any time difference, even with a single walled grill. This is not a double walled grill. I didn't see any time difference it's taken to do briskets or pork shoulders when I did them in the summer versus when I did them last night in the middle of December. So that said, I still think it's a volume of air inside this container, the ELX6, that may be causing it to take so long to get the finishing temperature. That's the only thing I can think of. Enjoy your cooks. They're well made. I haven't had any issues with the auger. I haven't had any issues with the fan. I haven't had any issues with the interface. I love how the two shelves come with this grill. I love that I could hang my secondary one in the front and use it for more tools. I love the fact that you can hang the sear plate on underneath the shelf on the left-hand side. The hopper sucks. The flame searing sucks on this. But other than that, it's a well-made product from Weber. If you have any questions, post them in the comments. I'll try and do what I can. Enjoy your cooks, and Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and a Happy New Year to everybody.